Why did Prince Harry break down on the stand on his third day of his phone hacking trial? What was said on the nasty voicemail that Pete Davidson left for animal rights group PETA? And who has Elliot Page exposed in his new memoir? All the questions will be answered in this video, so stick with me. Alright, so Prince Harry has testified in London court for a second day as a part of his phone hacking lawsuit against Mirror Group newspapers. He became the first senior member of the British royal family to take the witness stand in more than 130 years. He reportedly became emotional in court during his examination. He said the whole trial had been a lot to deal with. At one point, he appeared to get choked up and lost for words when his barrister asks him about the toll that the trial has taken. He said, "Finally, Prince Harry, you have been in that witness box for over a day and a half. You have to go through all these articles and answer questions knowing this is a very public courtroom and the world's media are watching. How has that made you feel?" In response, Harry reportedly fell silent, dropped his head, looking like he was fighting back tears. He said, "It's a lot." The Duke of Sussex told the court about a time that he found a tracking device on a car belonging to Chelsea Davy, his ex-girlfriend. He said that during their relationship in the mid-2000s, he was regularly amazed at how photographers and journalists were always able to track them down. He said the press intrusion had a devastating impact on their relationship, and it contributed to their breakup. He claimed a private investigator called Mike Baer was the one who put the device on Chelsea's car. At another point in the trial, Harry was cross-examined by MGN's attorney Andrew Green, where he addressed the 33 articles which he had complained about in his witness statement. He was asked to recall when he first read an article that caused him distress. In response, Harry said that he couldn't remember the specific dates, only that each article brought about an environment of hostility. Andrew Green then pointed out that certain information written about him in these articles was already public knowledge, either because it had been reported by other newspapers, or a palace spokesperson revealed it, or it happened in a public place. And this is when the cross-examination got interesting. Harry questioned whether or not the information in these articles should even be considered a source of public interest. But when he was asked what kind of stories he would consider to be a legitimate public interest, the examples he gave were a life-threatening injury or something about his military career. As his time on the stand was coming to an end, Green asked him a question that seemed to throw him off a bit. He said, "If the court were to find no evidence of phone hacking, would you be relieved or disappointed?" In response, Harry said he was unsure, before saying no one would want their phone to be hacked. It's only day 3 of the trial, but it's already taken social media by storm. If anything, his testimony seems to have left a lot of people divided. There are those who genuinely sympathize with him, even though they don't have first-hand experience of media intrusion. One person tweeted, "There is no contractual relationship between a child and the British press. The tabloids exploited Prince Harry when he was a child, and his mother had just died after she suffered press intrusion. They used his mental health to sell papers." But other people pointed out that he seems to have thrived off of all this press intrusion, given all the money he's made from the projects he's released over the last couple of months. So whichever way this trial goes, it's going to bring about a massive reaction no matter what. Now let's talk about Pete Davidson's beef with PETA. Pete and his girlfriend Chase Sue Wonders were spotted buying a puppy at a New York City pet store last week. Of course, somehow PETA got a hold of the story and called him out for buying a new dog instead of adopting. The senior VP released a statement saying, "It's tragic that Pete didn't seek out a borough-born mutt from a city animal shelter, because a scrappy New Yorker with charm, personality, and unconventional handsomeness could have been his perfect match. Yes, they might have been encouraging him to lead by example with adoption, but in any case they really picked on the wrong person, and they found out that in the craziest way possible." Pete decided to call the VP personally, and when he couldn't reach her, he left one insane voicemail. The audio was obtained by TMZ, and at first you can hear him start off very calm, saying, "Hi, my name is Pete Davidson. This message is for Daphne. Thank you so much for making comments publicly that I didn't adopt a dog. I just want to let you know I'm severely allergic to dogs, so I have to get a specific breed." He went on to explain that his mum's dog had just died 1 week prior when she was only 2 years old, which is why he had to get a specific dog. Pete ends the message in a rage. He says, "So why don't you do your research before you effing create news stories, because you're a boring tired F. F you and suck my D." Recently, Pete lost his 2-year-old dog Henry very suddenly when he got sick very fast. The family had gotten Henry at the beginning of the pandemic, and he quickly became part of their family. According to Pete, he was the happiest and sweetest dog ever, and he saved all their lives. He later spoke to TMZ about the angry phone call and said, "I hadn't seen my mom and my sister cry like that in over 20 years. I was trying to cheer up my family. I was already upset that the store had filmed me without my permission or acknowledgement. Then this organization organization made a public example of us, making our grieving situation worse. I am upset. It was a poor choice of words. I shouldn't have said what I said, but I am not sorry for standing up for myself and my family. So he clearly has his reasons for leaving that voicemail. If anything, this whole incident is just a reminder that we really have no idea what someone's going through, which is why having things like compassion and understanding is so important. But of course, PETA chose not to back down. They then released a second statement saying if Pete had done his research, he would know that there's no such thing as a hypoallergenic dog, that at least a quarter of dogs in shelters are purebreds, and that Pet Finder has listings for homeless dogs of every breed under the sun, including the one he purchased. So from their perspective, if he had just done a little extra work in looking for the right breed of dog, then he would have been able to adopt. While that might be true, the question is, should they really have called him out like that? It's no secret that PETA likes to target celebrities because of their platform and audience. Even if it gets a little vicious in the process, this of course helps them to bring more attention to animal rights, which can only be seen as a good thing. But having said that, there does need to be a bit of leniency at some point. PETA's not been caught walking around in a fur coat. Instead, he was trying to replace his family's beloved dog, which clearly left a big hole in their lives when he passed so suddenly. In this case, it does seem a bit unfair to put the spotlight on him during what is obviously a really tough time. So who do you guys think is in the wrong here? Let me know in the comments below. Now, Elliot Page has just dropped his new memoir, Page Boy, and it reveals a ton of surprises. Elliot claims he had a passionate romance with his co-star Olivia Thirlby on the set of the 2007 movie Juno. Apparently, they had sex all the time while filming. Elliot says that he was taken aback the moment he saw Olivia and instantly attracted to her. He said the chemistry was palpable, which pulled him in. Elliot said they began spending a lot of time together, and then one day they stood in Olivia's hotel room where she looked at him directly and told him that she was attracted to him. He felt the same way, and that's when their romance started. The actor described it as an all-encompassing desire that made him want someone in a way that was new and hopeful. He said at this point they started having sex all the time and everywhere, like her hotel room, their work trailers, and even a tiny private room in a restaurant. Quote, being intimate with Olivia helped my shame dissipate. I didn't see a glint of it in her eyes, and I wanted that. Done feeling wretched about who I am. This was one of the more surprising confessions in the book, though it's not entirely crazy to picture this happening. Olivia Thirlby has been married to Jack Spinara since 2014, though she came out as bisexual in 2011. Elliot came out as gay 3 years later. In another chapter, he recounts the moment that he fell in love with actress Kate Mara, while the two of them were co-starring in X-Men Days of Future Past. At the time, Kate was dating Max Minghella, and she said, I never thought I could be in love with two people, and now I know I can. Aside from secret relationships, the memoir also details a shocking incident that happened in 2014. Years before his transition, Elliot claimed that an unnamed A-list actor came up to him at a birthday party in LA and said, I'm going to F you to make you realize you aren't gay. This person, who Elliot described as an acquaintance, also told him, you aren't gay, that doesn't exist. You are just afraid of men. Days later, the two of them ran into each other at a gym, and this high-profile actor tried to backpedal on his comments. He insisted that he didn't have a problem with gay people. While we have no idea which celebrity is being referred to here, this chapter of the book has sent fans into a tailspin. Some people swear they can guess who it was. And so far, the rumors going around seem to suggest that it might be Chris Pratt. Although no one knows for sure, this wouldn't be such a big leap considering his history with Hillsong. Back in 2019, Elliot called his church infamously anti-LGBTQ, and Chris responded by saying nothing could be further from the truth. He posted a response on Instagram defending the Hillsong church by saying it was supportive of him during his divorce from Anna Faris, which from his perspective means they would also be very accepting of queer people. He wrote, I go to a church that opens their doors to absolutely everyone. Despite what the Bible says about divorce, my church community was there for me every stop of the way, never judging, just gracefully accompanying me on my walk. It is what I have seen them do for others on countless occasions, regardless of sexual orientation, race, or gender. In response, Elliot doubled down on his argument and he tweeted, if you are a famous actor and you belong to an organization that hates a certain group of people, don't be surprised if someone simply wonders why it's not addressed. Being anti-LGBTQ is wrong. There aren't two sides. The damage it causes is severe. Not everyone agrees that the unnamed celebrity was Chris Pratt, but his Twitter beef doesn't really seem to help his case. Sadly, Elliot has also had to deal with a lot of transphobia when he came out as trans in 2020. Last year, he said he was verbally attacked and threatened by a crazed man who shouted obscenities at him in public. The actor said he was just standing on a corner in West Hollywood when a hateful stranger approached him and yelled homophobic slurs at him, saying, "I'm going to effing gay bash you." At this point, Elliot ran into a nearby convenience store where employees escorted him into the shop. The man allegedly followed him and stood at the doorway yelling through the glass door. After this experience, Elliot said that he no longer feels safe in LA. He did acknowledge that he is lucky enough to stay in safer hotels and higher security if he needs to, unlike most people living in the city, but he said that doesn't mean it's not traumatic. Quote, "But I have the resources that, in every instance that is difficult, protect and can shield me from these things." Alongside his memoir, Elliot is also fighting back against the increasing anti-trans legislation sweeping the US. And that's one of the reasons it's so important for the book to come out at a time like this. So will you be grabbing a copy? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.